Hey beautiful people, my name is Brittany and today I'm going to be sharing about why I choose to use a menstrual cup as opposed to using pads or tampons anymore. I've been using a menstrual cup for about, I think 8 years and I love it. Here's my menstrual cup, by the way. Talk about this guy in a second. Yeah, I remember when I was like 19, I was studying abroad in Costa Rica, which is actually where I am now. It's gorgeous here. And there was a girl in my program who was obsessed with her menstrual cup and was trying to get everybody else to use one. And I thought it was crazy. And then fast forward a couple years later and I was like, wow, actually she really knew what was up. So I'm going to share about the menstrual cup I use, why I choose it, why I prefer it, and then some tips that I have. This is the menstrual cup I have. I will put the link to it in the description box below. I bought it for $7.49 on Amazon about 2 years ago. Before that, I was using a Diva cup that I had purchased at Whole Foods. Most menstrual cups have two main sizes, one for people who have not given birth yet, and then one for people who have already given birth. Also, between menstrual cup brands, there's a number of different sizes. This is the smallest one that I could find. It's the one that I found best fits me. There's also this extension at the bottom that you can cut to the size you like. So why do I choose a menstrual cup and why do I prefer it to pads and tampons? I got a little list for you. Number one, it's easier. I think that's one of the main reasons I switched was because it was a pain to have to keep carrying tampons around. And I was using the really small OB tampons at that point, but still like finding them when I was living outside the country was a pain, and then just having to keep purchasing them over and over, it was annoying. So it's definitely easier and definitely more minimalist for me. Reason number two, it's just way more comfortable for me. I was feeling like tampons were drying me out and just like didn't feel right to be putting in my body. And I never really dug pads because it just always felt like I had this sort of diaper going on in my panties. And I stopped wearing panties, which then where do you put the pad? With the menstrual cup, it took a little getting used to figure out how to fit it inside of me and playing around with a couple different models. But now I feel like it's so comfortable, I usually don't even notice it's there. Number three, it feels better for my body. I feel cleaner inside. I love that I'm not putting bleach or chemicals inside my body. Really don't want to be putting any sort of cotton inside my vagina, but especially not bleached cotton. And I feel cleaner. I feel like I can take care of myself better. Also, as I've done more research, studies show that there's less chance of infections like yeast infections using a menstrual cup, dramatically less. Number four, it's less waste and better for the environment. Number five, it's less expensive. Like I said, this one was $7.49 on Amazon. They range anywhere from there up to about $40 if you buy one in person at Whole Foods, and there are just a ton of different options. Pads and tampons can run people anywhere from $50 to $150 a year. Number six, it holds more blood than a tampon could or a pad, so you don't have to change it as often. Most days I can go the whole day without emptying it. And the final reason I'm going to share about why I love using a menstrual cup is I feel like it brings me closer to my body. It feels so normal at this point for me to insert my menstrual cup inside of me and take it out and to clean inside of my vagina and just to generally feel really comfortable touching myself. But I remember there was a time where that wasn't the case. And I really don't think most of us are encouraged to explore our bodies when we're growing up. I know I wasn't. When I started using OB tampons, the ones that don't have an applicator, I remember initially feeling like, oh my God, like I'm touching inside my vagina and that's so new for me, which is crazy because I mean, now it's so normal. I chart my cycle and I check my cervical fluid every day in that way. And I also love touching myself for sexual self-pleasure. And it just feels like the most normal, healthy thing in the world. But I know that it wasn't always the case. So I just love that this helps encourage our connection with our bodies and getting to know ourselves. I think it's really, really important for our self-love and just for our health in general. A few tips for wearing a menstrual cup that I've found to be really helpful in case if you are eager to try it or you've tried it and you felt like, yeah, this is why I'm giving you these tips. Number one is to give it some time and try it out, because in the beginning, mine didn't feel completely comfortable for me. I really had to get used to how to insert it, how to like fit it into the right place, how to relax into the position. And like I said, I had to try 2 different menstrual cups for me at least until I found one that really felt like it fit me right. There's so many instructions online and that come with the cup on how to insert it, and I really like encourage you to play around with what it says there and play around with different things, because once it sits in the right spot, I just think it has the potential to be like the most comfortable option. Tip number 2, I still wear my cup the least amount possible, because putting anything inside of my vagina and keeping it there for days at a time doesn't feel ideal for me. I find that by the 3rd day of my flow, if I'm still wearing it, like I guess I'd say into the 4th day, I can start to feel irritated inside. So usually by then, my flow is light enough that I don't really need to wear it, or I don't wear it at night. I just sort of play around with what my cycle is needing at that time. And I also have a pair of boy shorts that I'll get like here and there, just that I can change and bleed into like just little bits. I did play around with period panties, the Thinx ones, and I just didn't love them. I'll make another video about that sometime, so that's why I use just like really light, comfortable boy shorts. Tip number 3, to keep it clean, I boil it every time at the end of my flow. I boil it for 10 minutes in really hot water and sometimes put a little bit of tea tree in it too, and it disinfects it, leaves it smelling really nice and clean. Tip number 4, if you need to empty your menstrual cup and you are in a public restroom where the sink does not reside inside the toilet area, then I recommend planning ahead, maybe with bringing a bottle of water and probably like some paper towels, something like that, so you feel like you can clean it and take really good care of it. But again, because you don't have to change it that often, I usually don't run into this situation. And number 5, if you are going to be going upside down, I recommend emptying your menstrual cup first. I've had some really interesting incidents, I'll call them, because I practice acrobatics and hand balancing, and things can get messy if there's a lot of blood in there and then you invert your body. It just changes the suction of it and etc. So I recommend doing that in advance. That's what I have for you today on menstrual cups. I hope that you found it helpful, that it answered any questions you may have had about them. If not, please do feel free to post in the comments section below. I'd love to answer anything that I have the knowledge on or point you in the direction of somebody else who may. If you are interested in getting closer to your body, closer to your heart, closer to the life of your dreams, I really recommend checking out my program Simplify, and you can use this discount code here. Thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon.